Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Well, first tonight, emergency doctors have voiced damning allegations patients have died unnecessarily at the Launceston General, with the hospital under immense strain and suffering worsening bed block. They say the crisis follows increased presentations from the COVID-19 outbreak, with the nursing union also calling for change.
A busy day at the Launceston General Hospital. This emergency department now under scrutiny, with staff reporting dire conditions for patients.
They have to be seen in the waiting room, in the emergency departments. They're ramped in ambulances and they're spending far too long in the emergency department. The longer one spends in an emergency department, the higher risk they are at suffering an adverse outcome.
A damning letter by emergency doctors to hospital management revealing crisis-level pressure, made worse with the scaled-back ED at the Mersey Community Hospital at Latrobe amid the outbreak, leading to presentations significantly increasing. The letter saying, "Our emergency department is under strain. It has the worst bed block in the country. We come to work each day knowing that our workplace is not safe for patients and our patients have died unnecessarily. We did not have appropriate space to treat and monitor them."
Some really concerning things out of that. First of all, that they believe that it is compromising patient care and that people have died as a result of the lack of support and investment that is being provided.
The Health Minister grilled in Parliament.
The matters raised are incredibly serious. I'll make sure that they're looked into immediately by the Secretary of the Department, Madam Speaker, because the safety of the clinicians and the safety of our patients is my highest priority.
The nursing union says it'll take more than just money to see change.
Increasing resources in the emergency department won't fix the fundamental issue, and that is bed block, and we need to look at how we can look at using other available options, reducing emergency presentations, utilising our district hospitals.
We're always open, of course, to listening to our clinicians to see where the pressures are and what can be done to further improve our health system.
Ruby COMMANE, 7 Tasmania News.
As we go to air, a controversial voluntary assisted dying bill is being debated in Parliament. We're joined live now by our reporter Ruby COMMANE for more details. Good evening, Ruby. Where's the bill at this evening?
Kim, debate kicked off only a few hours ago in the Legislative Council and is expected to continue long into the night. It's the 4th attempt in recent years to see similar laws realised in Tasmania, this latest push coming from Mersey MP Mike Gaffney. This afternoon, he's already told the Chamber 50% of similar legislation around the world has passed in the last 5 years, including 2 Australian states. Tonight, we'll also hear from members on all sides of politics in what's expected to be an emotional and personal debate. Now, Mr Gaffney's legislation has been long challenged by opponents, including political colleagues, but tonight he's standing by his bill.
To those individuals who are contemplating or already experiencing a painful and intolerable decline, the comfort and security that this bill will provide in ensuring that they may find relief from their suffering at a time of their choosing cannot be understated.
Even if this debate does finish tonight, the bill still has to pass through yet another round of scrutiny in the lower house. That's if it does pass this first hurdle. Kim?
OK, thank you very much. Ruby COMMANE there. Well, social support agencies say the winding back of the federal government's pandemic payments could have a detrimental impact on local families. JobKeeper and Job Seeker supplements will be reduced at the end of the month, leaving a cloud over many heads.
Matt Goss has been forced to scale back operations due to COVID restrictions. He says JobKeeper payments have been a saving grace.
It's worked really well. For us it's been great. We wouldn't be having the amount of staff that we have at the moment working, and we probably would have closed the business for an extended period of time. It's about surviving this and trying to come out the other side.
He's one of thousands of Tasmanian business owners taking advantage of the government handouts to stay afloat.
Being a new business, it was really crucial for us to be able to have that support to stay open, and we're able to keep most of the staff on and open back up and have job security with that. Without that, we wouldn't have necessarily gotten through it.
From the end of September, JobKeeper payments will fall from $1,500 a fortnight to $1,200. Those working less than 20 hours a week will receive $750.
If we're allowed to go back to business as we were before COVID-19, then I wouldn't mind if they took JobKeeper away the next day, because you go back to trading as we were. But while there is restrictions in place, it's difficult to take away part of somebody's business and not give them compensation.
Social support services say reduced job seeker payments will also be hard to swallow for many.
It will push Tasmanians back below the poverty line. And at a time when there are so few jobs available for the number of job seekers, we should be doing everything we can to support Tasmanians to access training and education opportunities.
We consider that as the benefits start to reduce, we will see an increasing traffic through emergency relief.
No relief in sight for those doing it tough. LETITIA Wallace, 7 Tasmania News.
And the state government has welcomed the Prime Minister's repeated announcement to fast-track Marinus Link. It says negotiations are continuing to progress with the federal government.
We're not far away from signing a memorandum of understanding, and the final details are being worked through that now.
But energy experts say local gas reserves should also be tapped into.
One of the exciting prospects for Tasmania is the development of Bass Strait gas reserves, particularly the down dip development of the Otway Basin, which actually goes into Tasmanian waters.
Marinus Link is one of 3 energy projects across the country to be accelerated. A dramatic rescue has unfolded at Mount Nelson this afternoon, with a bushwalker sustaining head and spinal injuries following a fall. The Westpac rescue helicopter tasked to retrieve the man in his 60s from a precariously rocky and steep area.
This, the dramatic aftermath of a bushwalker injured on his climb. It all started just before midday, when the man attempting this demanding track took a wrong turn.
I've had an incident on the Truganini track, which goes from Taroona up to the Mount Nelson signal station, and a approximately 65-year-old male's fallen over and received some head and possible spinal injuries.
He fell briefly unconscious, his 3 walking partners calling emergency services. Authorities swarming to the scene, moving him onto the stretcher, midway along the steep and rocky track. It would have made for a rough ride out, paramedics deciding to make use of other methods.
Plan from here is to stretcher carry him a short distance to a more a better helicopter area to pick him up from, and he'll be extracted by the Westpac rescue helicopter shortly. We don't want to put him at further risk of further injury or to the walkers ourselves.
These pilots flying as close as possible to the hillside climb, with paramedics lifting him to safety. Perfect conditions in the sky aiding their task.
His condition's stable now. He's been treated by 4 paramedics from Tas Ambulance Service.
The man, suffering non-life-threatening injuries, taken to the Royal Hobart Hospital to recover. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's long-serving Police Commissioner, Darren Hine, has been appointed for a further 2 years in the top job. He's served in the role for the past decade, with more than 40 years' experience in law enforcement. This year, Commissioner Hine also took on the job of Tasmania's State Controller throughout the pandemic, responsible for the coordination of the emergency response. It's been a tough year for tradies, but new data has confirmed that hasn't deterred apprentices from taking up the tools. In July alone, 366 new apprentices and trainees started their careers, only slightly lower than the same time last year, despite challenging conditions.
So I had 3 years at uni where I got a uni degree, and I decided that being in an office wasn't for me. And decided to come out and try my hand at an apprenticeship.
It's going to be, I think, very busy next year for the home building and construction industry, and we're going to have to gear up for that, and I can see that happening already with the apprentice numbers and the trainees coming through on site.
The data also found Tasmanian trainees continue to have the highest course completion rates in the country. Tasmanian cricket's high-profile recruit, Peter SIDDLE, is tickled pink after being chosen as the ambassador for Pink Stumps Day. The McGrath Foundation fundraiser aims to raise $500,000, and SIDDLE says he's keen to brighten local clubs with some colourful memorabilia.
Peter SIDDLE wore plenty of pink in his test days, and now he's promoting pink, Pink Stumps Day, which raises money for breast cancer through the McGrath Foundation.
Spent a lot of time with Glenn over the years, talking about it and helping out as an Australian cricketer. It felt right to be able to just bring a bit more awareness and play a bit bigger part than obviously just being the cricketer that plays in the pink test.
Local teams can raise money by signing up and playing a game in the eye-catching colour. And as an added incentive, the new Tassie Tigers recruit revealed he's all ears if clubs want some select SIDDLE memorabilia to sell.
If anyone wants to hit me up, I've got plenty of test shirts lying around from my career, so yeah, I'd be happy to help out different clubs.
Michelle Fish knows just how important the Foundation's work is. She was recently diagnosed with incurable breast cancer, which affected more than her health alone.
So many people don't know what to say to you, and I think sometimes that's the hardest thing, because I would rather someone come up to me and say, I don't know what to say, than I lose their friendship or what have you.
She's been supported by Paula Lagariski, one of 4 Tasmanian breast care nurses funded by the McGrath Foundation.
We do everything from physical support to education to the emotional support and psychological support, so it's a very complex role.
My journey without her would have been just so much more difficult.
If you'd like to play in pink, head to pinkstumpsday.com.au. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
In a sign community spirit is well and truly alive, the inspiring Choir of High Hopes has today reunited after restrictions forced its members apart 6 months ago. The singing group, open to those experiencing disadvantage, is now preparing to finally start performing once again.
A practice session, 6 months in the making. For Hobart's Choir of High Hopes, this reunion is about so much more than just singing.
Something I missed and a problem, because you imagine, will we get back together again?
The initiative, open to all experiencing disadvantage. Usually, its weekly meetings are a time to catch up, to practice and to socialise. But like so many programs, COVID-19 forced those rehearsals online. But today, they were finally allowed back together once again.
They really rely on that, just being able to be with each other, that feeling that they get from being in the room. And it's often one of the things that they reflect upon in terms of the things that they like about the choir. They say it actually gives them a reason to get up.
The approach and community sort of access to getting together and performing. And sometimes people will mention that we saw you singing in the mall or those sorts of things and being recognised.
The Glenorchy City Council providing this practice space, the amphitheatre at the Tolosa Park Reserve.
Providing it for a month or so, as much as the choir needs it, indefinitely. So we're really happy to be able to provide this facility for our community.
It allows us to rehearse with social distancing, and a lot of choirs are unable to do that because of the current pandemic restrictions, but we can do it and we're just delighted that we can.
Their voices finally ringing out loud and clear. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Some of the state's brightest young minds have gathered together to think, solve and build. Hundreds of students put their skills to the test today at the annual Science and Engineering Challenge. Kicking off in Hobart, the program sets a range of different tasks for Year 9 and 10 students to complete, all aimed at inspiring the next generation of STEM researchers.
It's really good to look at the problem solving side of it, and it helps me think about what I want to do in the future, whether problem solving is sort of for me.
This event is a wonderful opportunity for students to just realise their capabilities, to realise, they may not be focused on their maths or in their sciences, but they might be very capable of hands-on problem solving.
Tasmanian events are the only ones in the country to be held live this year. The program will now move across the state in coming weeks.
Launceston's Tom Bellchambers has announced his retirement from the AFL after 13 years at the top level. The Essendon Tall made the call after battling persistent knee problems. Originally overlooked in the national draft, Bellchambers was handed a lifeline by Essendon after impressing aboard the Tassie Devils.
Went in with a little bit of confidence and then name didn't get read out, which was disappointing, but still, yeah, it all happened for a reason, I think.
In the end, the Dons were awarded, with the 2-metre-tall ruckman notching up 136 games. Announcing his retirement today, Bellchambers said he'd lived out a childhood dream, but physically, his body had had enough. His best season was in 2018, where he finished 6th in the club's best and fairest. Meanwhile, more VFL talent will join the TSL this week, with Launceston's Tim Jones set to debut for the Blues after doing his time in quarantine.
He played on the weekend in the Development League and had 40-odd touches and kicked 3 goals, so we're looking forward to adding him to our midfield.
Jones was also a promising junior cricketer. His playing number sounds more like a batsman's score.
He's going to don the 89 this week, so the poor guy, yeah, he's got a heavy number, but that's part and parcel of joining a club at a later date.
The clash against North Hobart will also mark Jay Blackberry's 200th game. He'll be just the second player to reach the milestone in the TSL. The D's will be back to full strength as Bailey Walker and Baxter Norton return.
We've got Troy Cunliffe coming back for his second game now, so we expect his output will be higher, and he's obviously one of the best midfielders in the comp. You know, we're up against it this week, but I think the challenge where we can't wait for it, and it's going to be great.
And the Women's Hockey Premier League finals fixture is all tied up, even with 2 rounds to go. Derwent will play Diamondbacks in an elimination final, so cool heads are needed to make it through in one piece.
We don't have any current injuries, but it's also, you know, working on those finer things leading up to finals and ensuring that we look after our bodies.
Northwest grads will face OHA when the finals roll around. The two sides drew 2-2 when they met on the weekend.
Good evening. Another blustery day across the state. However, it did reach 20 degrees at friendly beaches. Hobart 17, Launceston 16, Burnie and Devonport 15 today. St Helens 18 degrees, Bushy Park 17, Grove 16, Smithton 15 today, Lowhead, Strawn and the Islands all 14. A few showers over the west and far south as the cloud gathered over those areas. Banner cloud developed over the east this afternoon. A surface trough brought cloud to WA onshore streams responsible for the cloud over Queensland, New South Wales and the Northern Territory. Tomorrow a cold front approaches our south as high pressure systems bracket the mainland. The wind's still high on the scale with northwesterlies at 15 to 25 knots reaching 30 knots over the upper east and far south, swells up to 5 metres. Strong wind warning has been issued for waters from Flinders Island to Wineglass Bay and also between Tasman Island and Low Rocky Point. So windy tomorrow, Hobart expecting a shower or two developing, 17, 15 for Geeveston, showers for Bothwell, 15 the maximum. Launceston a high of 15 degrees with a shower or two, same for Devonport and for Cressy. Burnie expecting a high of 15 as well with a shower or two in the air, showers for Strawn 14, Curry cloudy and 15 degrees. A cloudy day for St Helens, 17, and for Swansea and Orford, both on 18 degrees. On Thursday, showers falling as snow above 700 metres, easing during the afternoon. Fine after widespread frost on Friday, light showers developing later over the north, maybe well into the evening. And on Saturday, showers over the north extending to the west in the afternoon, mainly fine for the remainder with east to northeast winds. Partly cloudy weather over Perth, Adelaide and Melbourne tomorrow. Sunny conditions forecast for Canberra and Sydney, a possible shower for Brisbane. Partly cloudy in Hobart, it's 13 at the moment. Mostly clear in the north, Launceston 12, partly cloudy in Devonport and 12 degrees. Kim, that concludes our prognostications.
And that is your news for now. Thanks for joining us this evening. Have a great night. See you tomorrow.